The Toronto Raptors have made a sneaky good signing as Bobby Webster's been putting together the final pieces to this roster heading into training camp and, of course, preseason. And one question that a lot of Raptors fans have had is about the center position and who specifically is going to be backing up Jakob Poeltl to get consistent run at that backup C position. And now there is another player involved thrown out there in the mix for this role and has a lot better chance of actually making the roster than a guy like Colin Castleton did before he ended up getting waived. So we're going to break down this recent signing, how it impacts all of the training camp battles are going to be happening, and frankly, why this acquisition of Olivier Sarr is and one that could actually have an impact and give him a chance at making the final team's roster. So lots of stuff to break down out here in this video. Before we do, folks, again, you guys have been supporting the channel a ton. Even though news has been a little bit more dry as of late, I appreciate all the support we can get out here on the channel. So if you want to join the community we're building here and you're a part of the over 53% of our viewers that haven't hit the subscribe button just yet, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button because we're delivering all the latest updates regarding this Toronto Raptors team. But let's dive into the news because we have a signing. We have a signing coming out at the center position for the Toronto Raptors as Blake Murphy revealed the Raptors have signed Olivier Sarr to an Exhibit 10 contract for Sarr per a source. So a camp deal and elevated G League salary if he ends up getting waived and goes to the 905. So who the heck is Olivier Sarr? Who is he as a basketball player? What are we looking like in terms of, his potential impact out here on this team? Well, he's a guy that has had some actual NBA stints, and specifically during his rookie season, showed a lot of potential in terms of what he could actually provide out there on the basketball court. So in his rookie year, at age 22 years old, average, in again, small sample size in a bad Oklahoma City Thunder team at that time, but 19 minutes per night, 7 points per game, 4.2 rebounds, 1 assist, 0.3 steals, and you see the 3-point shooting in 1.3 attempts per night. So again, not a high sample size, 22 games, 1.3 attempts per night, but shot 45% from the 3-point stripe. So, again, 22 games, he really proved that he at least is a guy that should be in the conversations as an NBA player. Now, over the past couple seasons, Oklahoma City has very much improved, of course, winning the NBA championship this year, so there was a lot less opportunities for a guy like Olivier Sarr to actually get some run, but he's a very interesting archetype basketball player, so I've seen him listed from different heights, different places you look, but from the official NBA website, it has him listed as 6'10 and 240 pounds, and he's about 25 years old, born in 99, so a guy that is also the brother of number 2 pick, Alex Sarr, for the Washington Wizards just a couple of years ago. So he's a player that, again, you might look at these stats, oh, he's regressed, he's a guy that's moving in the wrong direction. Well, the real factor to this is OKC was really good. There was a lot of opportunities for him to get to play, whereas in the G League, you see his improvement shown a different way, out there for the past few seasons. The 23-24 season, he, again, small sample size as well for the squad, but in his final season out there in the G League, 23-24, so not last season, but averaged 14 points per game, 13.3 rebounds, and 2.1 blocks per night. So he can block some shots. He also shot 33% from the three-point line. Again, different volumes, different sample size and stuff. In his career out there in the G League, ended up shooting 40% from the three-point stripe. So a guy that is a 7-footer that blocks shots, that knocks down the three-point ball, and can legitimately play that center position, on a Raptors team that definitely could be using some more depth in those areas if there are some question marks about how NBA ready Olivier Sarr is going to be in his second season. I mean, during the summer league, he definitely looked very, very improved from where he was pre-injury, even, over the course of his stats over the G League last year for the Raptors 905. But Shamshay in the final game especially looked very lost out there in the Raptors Summer League against the Sacramento Kings. So Sarr is definitely going to be more polished, has NBA experience, has been on a championship winning team. Like, he is a guy that definitely can come in and have an impact. And you look at the Raptors depth chart right now, and for a team that's trying to be competitive, trying to be good next season, you see that center depth. And of course, we have Sandro Mamukelashvili, who is a guy that, we're hopeful can really just be a consistent, backup 5 for the squad, who's 6'11 himself, knocks down the 3-point ball. A 37% clip last season, 3 points, 6 points, 3 rebounds per night last year. Mamu is a guy that also is fairly young as well. He is I don't want to say shoo-in, but the favorite to be that backup center for this team next year. But of course, you do have Shamshay, who's the wild card, and now Sarr, who I think in a different system, if he really shows out during training camp, if he shows, during preseason, some opportunities to really be, an elite two-way center prospect, I mean, that is a guy that you don't want to give up on. And there are some, for that final roster spots, guys on his 10 deals, on non-guaranteed contracts. The battle right now is really between those guys at the bottom right. AJ Lawson, David Roddy, as well as Olivier Sarr. Now at this point for that final roster spot. Then, of course, there's the opportunity that, Bobby Webster looks at this like, hey, none of these guys are super valuable and stuff, but so we're just going to keep the open roster and keep that extra bit of buffer below the tax bracket. So, who's going to get that final roster spot? Because we look at the stats on all these dudes, right, in terms of who they have. AJ Lawson is my favorite to get that position. I know it's less of a positional fit, positional need, right? We look at the Raptors roster. You have RJ Barrett, Scottie Barnes, Ochai Agbaji, Gradey Dick, Jacoby Walter, Jamison Battle, and Elijah Martin now, and Chucky Hepburn, all that can play that wing position for this team. So, and then the forward spots like Ingram, CMB, they can play down a peg as well if needed. So AJ Lawson plays in the most competitive position for this Raptors group right now, of course, but 9 points per game, 3.3 rebounds, 1.2 assists. I think a lot of people would argue he's our best player on this Raptors Summer League team over the course of the summer. So a player that's 25 years old himself, Canadian, I think he should be the favorite. He has earned an opportunity to, be on this roster and make this team. So I think AJ Lawson should still be the favorite, but a dark horse that not a lot of people are talking about because he didn't play in the Summer League for the Toronto Raptors is David Roddy, who has had a pretty significant NBA career himself, is only 24 years old, has had some big moments out there in the past, but is a very undersized power forward, but stocky, plays defense, plays that modern Toronto Raptors style that we saw this team really execute out there over the, course of Summer League. So, a guy that will be, training camp battles and stuff. Who's ever worked at the Hunters, whoever's played the most attempts, whoever has the most opportunities, though that's probably the guy that Bobby Webster is going to draft, just given the trajectory and how this team is looking. But of course, the center position is that position of need. So that's where the realistic possibility of Sarr coming in and actually getting this roster spot makes it all the more likely, because a three-point shooting center in the modern NBA that blocks shots, that's athletic, that has size, that has length, that has the Raptors have had a history of bringing in brothers of bigger name stars, whether it's Giannis's brother Alex Antetokounmpo, Michael Porter Jr.'s brother Jonte Porter. Yeah, have they all worked out? Definitely not. But Sarr, Alex Sarr isn't that elite of a player, but does have some high potential. Olivier Sarr is a player that I don't mind the Raptors taking a flyer on, but of course, the very likely possibility is this team ended up selecting him, waiving him, and then he's going to be a member of the Raptors 905, and then basically fill that Colin Castleton spot. The Raptors end up waiving Castleton after a really brutal summer league for him. So, Sarr is that dude that a lot of Raptors fans are looking at right now and saying, hey, that could be that role in the Raptors 905 to fit that position. But, if he presses in summer league, I would not be shocked, just given the positional need, to actually make this team. So I think it's a good signing for the Raptors. Let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comment section down below. You guys the best thing as far. Subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. Anyways, I'm signing out. Cheers.